Presented by The Hockey Shop, source for Sports Langley, thehockeyshop.com. It's InGoal Radio, the podcast. We are in the wake of the Stanley Cup Championship and Tendy Fest, two marquee events in the world of goaltending in the recent past, and this is a lot of fun to chat about with the co-founder of InGoal magazine. It's Kevin Woodley. How was Tendy Fest, my friend?
It was good. It was really good. We, as always, there was just a lot going on, so it's hard to keep up with it. We did not get out on the ice like we would have liked to. We did not get out to sort of see some of the reactions to the hundreds and hundreds, or from the hundreds and hundreds of goaltenders that showed up. I didn't see a final count, but it was the busiest Tendy Fest ever. Manufacturers, even the ones that brought like literal truckloads of gear, didn't have enough. So people had to wait a little bit, but not too much. The demand was just so high. So a great event. What an awesome opportunity for goalies to check out gear they're considering buying. Our booth was busy. People stopping by, saying hello. Mostly wanted to talk to Hutch, the cool guy amongst our duo. And then we had a really good Q&A with Ian Clark of the Vancouver Canucks. He came by, was talking to goalies throughout the event, a little bit at our booth, a little bit over at the CCM booth. And then we did a Q&A with him that we'll share. Haven't decided yet whether that's going to be a video on InGoal Premium or whether we make that a podcast episode. Maybe we do both. But just as usual, a fantastic conversation with Ian. I think I said we'd keep him for 20 or 30 minutes, and it ended up being close to an hour because the answers were just fantastic. And of course, his answers always lead to more questions. We had some audience participation on the questions as well. So just a fantastic event. Thanks to Cam and Chad at the Hockey Shop for making us a part of it. A great day for goaltending, and the first time we've been back since the pandemic with a Tendy Fest. New location. I will say this. As we got to sort of understand the location and how it would work, we recognized the opportunities that exist to make this a much bigger event. Maybe a little bit of Tendy Fest and some InGoal live events, maybe even some coaches coming in to do presentations in a conference room that's attached to the rink. All kinds of possibilities for the next couple of years. The one thing I do know for sure is with Cam in charge and some of the ideas that he discussed with us and some of the ideas we had, it's going to continue to get bigger and better every single season.
Got Joel Hofer standing by for a Sense Arena feature interview in just a little bit, and we're also going to discuss the true 9x3 line coming up in our gear segment, brought to you by The Hockey Shop, source for Sports Langley, thehockeyshop.com. Was it, on the on-ice part, was there a flood at any point? Was it that broken up, the ice? I was wondering about that. That's because you want to test the slide. And
that's a really good question, Daren. I assume they would have had to have had a flood at some point. I mean, we had goalies of all levels. Now, they do have not just one net at either end of the rink. They have them against the end boards as well, so goalies can, stationary shooting and just sort of feel pucks and take shots. I would assume you would have to, but again, because we were outside and the sort of exhibitors, I guess that's what we were, an exhibitor area was all covered by tents in case it rained. It didn't, thank goodness. But we had a little bit of a detachment from the indoors to the outdoors. And because we were kept so busy by people stopping by our booth to talk, didn't have a chance to be on the ice or see whether there was a flood. But given the amount of goalies on 2 sheets of ice, even with 2 sheets going, I would imagine they would have had to clean that ice a couple of times.
Hey, what was your feedback for InGoal Radio or InGoal Magazine when you talked to the people, when you weren't signing autographs?
There was an autograph request, so my head is bigger than usual. Somebody said they would buy a hat. We had hats for sale, the InGoal hats, and somebody said, I'll buy a hat if you'll sign it. And because I'll do anything to sell merchandise, I agreed to sign it and made sure Hutch took a photo of it because, like I said, huge ego pump for me. Most of the feedback was just thank yous. We got a lot of thank yous from listeners who love the podcast, to be honest with you. Not everybody was a subscriber to InGoal Premium, but everybody that swung by talked about listening to us on the podcast and appreciating what InGoal does for the goalie community. And so thank you to everyone that came by and shared their experiences listening to the podcast interviews that particularly hit home for them. Even to those that said the podcast is great, except I talk too much, as I'm doing again today. So, so I made some notes. From here on out, I'm going to talk less.
I like you talking a lot because I get to learn things from the Yoda of the goaltending world. That's what you are. You're my Yoda. As far as Tenny Fest, being able to try on different manufacturers with the different breaks, that to me would be one of the marquee moments or opportunities to be able to line up the different manufacturers and try their various breaks and compare those. That it would be gold for me.
Well, glove breaks were a big one. I think the other thing is pads, right? Like we're seeing so many, like if you've never had a chance to, to put a set of Warrior pads on with the plastic slide plate. And that's something that you're like, hey, I could use a little more lateral speed, or the ice in my rink is no good. And I think that would be faster, but I'm not willing to shell out, pro level investment in new pads without trying them. You could do that. What do you think of CCM's new integrated knee stack? Which, to me has become, it's funny, we're having this discussion with a couple of people. Maybe they're back to being the best knee block in pro hockey. Bauer, if you've never had a chance, like the way it slides, how those rebounds explode off the face of the pad, just because it's such a unique design. There's a lot of people that keep hearing about these features and the innovation of Bauer, but because it's so different, they've maybe never even had a chance to try it, or they're not willing to make that jump. There were some, I tell you, the one item that I'm not even sure it went on the ice. It was more just to try and at the booth. It'll be out this year. The new Axis helmet from CCM had eyes wide, even from people that had no intention or didn't know about it or no intention of trying it. Some really unique features there that we'll be bringing to InGoalMag.com in the very near future. I actually had that mask on as early as last summer, and will tell you that it has the potential to be a game changer in terms of the way they built it and the liner and the way it feels. And we had an ex-pro in Alex Auld saying, like, wow, and some current junior goalies that I don't think ever would have considered making that switch, considering it. So that was a product that I don't think people maybe necessarily went there looking for, because not everybody aware it's coming, but it'll be out this year. And it definitely turned some heads, if you'll pardon the pun.
That's awesome. What do you like about that?
The way the liner fits, the customizability of the liner at the top level, and the way they've designed it from an airflow perspective. It was a hot day, and everybody that put it on, you could sort of... It's like having air conditioning built in. You know how hot it gets in a mask, and thermoregulation is a big part of managing fatigue and goaltending, and so much of that heat escapes through the head. And because of the way they built the liner, like it's not being trapped anymore. You could very tangibly feel how much cooler that new CCM Axis mask felt on your head compared to others. Now, that said, I haven't product tested it. We haven't been on the ice in it to verify whether you feel the same thing once you're on the ice, but it certainly had some eyebrows raised and some eyes wide open at the people that got to see it for the first time at their booth.
It's funny. I've got masks from all different manufacturers and at Collect, and I always go back to, as far as what I wear, I always go back to a Bauer. Love the Bauer because it just seems to fit. It seems to mold with me. Fit
is such a big important part of this. And the one thing that, again, I don't have the full story on when it's going to be offered, at what levels this type of service is going to be offered. It may be pro only, but there is the ability to scan and sort of customize this liner. The way that it's created, the way that it's manufactured gives you that option to help ensure a better fit. But I'm with you. We always bang the drum about fit being so important. And we've seen manufacturers, whether it's CCM or Bauer especially, because for years, that old 961, but it was only sort of one, if it fit, great. If it didn't, you were hooped.
Yeah.
Now, you have so many different sizes. The manufacturers recognize the importance of fit. And I think that's what had me surprised maybe a little bit by the reaction, because there were some goalies that, again, because of that fit, because of their comfort level in other brands, I never would have expected to say, I really want to try that this summer and I would consider wearing it. But that was the takeaway. Goalies that are entrenched in other masks at a really high level, playing, major, junior. One of them was already drafted into the NHL that we spoke with that was excited about it. That type of reaction tells me they have something when you see guys put it on for the first time and be willing to be like, yeah, I might, I might cheat on my my old favorite to try this out.
961, just hearing those numbers makes my heart swell.
Love it.
Just it's warm inside. And I also thought that was always the best looking mold mask out there. But everybody's got their own preference. But that's I always drove to.
It's a classic, right? And it was also, the best for if it fit you properly. There was a protection level there that you knew you could count on.
Did Hutch sell a lot of stickers? Or give away a lot of stickers?
Hutch sold some stickers. We gave away some stickers. We did a lot of both. It was good. It was a really good day. But you know what? Hey, enough about us.
I just wanted to say I did my part because I wore the InGoal radio InGoal mag quarter zip, and it was on Quest for the Cup. You saw
got us on Quest for the Cup. InGoal magazine.
I don't know where that was from, but you sent the picture.
Cup. Somebody sent us a picture, so thank you, Daren, for getting that exposure, which brings us to your experience. Because, I got to go to Tendy Fest, and Tendy Fest was cool. Tendy Fest is always cool. But, dude, you were on the ice with the Stanley Cup. You lifted the Stanley Cup. Yeah. Walk us through what the last couple of months have been like in the midst of a Stanley Cup playoff chase and to have it ultimately rewarded with a lifting of the cup.
Well, first of all, a shout out to Sean Burke, who we work with the Vegas Golden Knights, director of goaltending, and Mike Rosati, who was also on the ice, goalie coach last year, being out there, who done an amazing job over the last couple of years with the Vegas Golden Knight goaltenders, and then to all the netminders through and through. And they were all out on the ice. Aiden Hill, who wins the title, Jonathan Quick, who is backing up, and boy, did he show some dexterity getting over those boards so fast. Laurent Brossoit was in uniform for the clinching moments and on the ice to celebrate, and Logan Thompson as well. But awesome dudes. Brossoit, I just got all the time in the world for. Just a great human being who I can sit there and talk goaltending with all day long. Aiden Hill, I can talk any sport with, and he's cool. And Quick is like the dawn of everybody. The way he's the old man. Making sure that everybody's in the right spot. And boy, did they lean on him throughout this process. But I've been on the ice. That was my 13th time being on the ice when the cup was presented in some fashion. And that was the first time, though, where I had a dog in the fight, some skin in the game. And before Mark Stone, because I was on the ice doing interviews, before Mark Stone took it to the dressing room, I looked at him and said, Mark, is it okay if I have it? And he handed it to me. So the captain hands it to me. And I've never done this before. 1,000 pictures with the Stanley Cup, and I would say it would probably be 1,000. And I got to lift it, and it was the most amazing feeling, being able to lift it and then bring it down, give it a kiss, and then hold it back up. It will be in my office in the biggest picture possible. It was as close to religious as you get. And then the between that night and being in the room, I don't know if you saw my epic failure dropping the champagne, trying to spray it. But you buy it, there's no judgment. You're just having fun. And the parade was beyond what I expected. And the cup being on the bus for a while. And my wife and our oldest daughter was there. And Jen and Zero had a great time. It was just the coolest thing. But being able to hold it, which I never thought I'd be able to do. I never thought I would be able to get that. I've even thought of, I'll give you a secret. If the cup was there and the handler was looking away for a second, I've thought, can I grab it and hold it over my head? I know that that's a violation of all the rules, but just to be able to do it, I've always thought, what would that feel like? And I didn't have to do that, fortunately, because I was part of the organization that won it. It is as good as everybody says it is. And it's 34.5 pounds, and there is weight to it, but holy cow, is it a cool feeling to be able to hold that thing up.
As busy as you've been for the last couple of months, did you work up some shoulder lifts just in case, or would that have been jinxing? Did you make sure the shoulders were prepped for that lift?
No, but I can tell you this. Sean Burke has a bum shoulder, and he couldn't get it all the way over his head. For his picture, it looks great, but there was some wonkiness there, and Burke's our buddy, and he told me on the ice, 2 minutes after he did it, he's like, if nothing else, that proved to me that I need to get my shoulder done, because I had trouble at the ultimate moment getting that that Stanley Cup lifted over my head was a bit of a challenge.
Sean hasn't won it before.
No.
That's what
first time.
He'd been around so long that first I was going through it and I'm like, this is his first cup. Like, and what a job he's done. I know he maybe doesn't want to be called the goalie whisperer from us in the media, but man, like, you can't underestimate the role that he played in this, and that, like that's why I love. You mentioned all the guys, and when we did every year the cup gets handed out, and you do like a post on, InGoal does a post with everyone. Sometimes it means a little more, like watching Mitch Korn raise it for the first time as big as he's been to us. But Sean was the same thing, and then you start going through the list, and we made sure, because I know Mike Rosati played a role in that, right? Like. Even Fred Brathwaite, keeping guys sharp.
Oh, yeah, Freddie was out
with
there.
LB.
Big hug with Freddie.
Yeah, make sure we had that in there in our post. There was you got the sense that this was the goalie union is strong within that organization. It's not just one or two people. It's everybody that contributed this. And that's not just because they went so deep in the depth chart. Yuri Patera got time in the National Hockey League this year. Make sure we include him. But just the whole organization and everyone played a role in it, and including our practice goalie friend, Daren Millard. So this is, man, we were so excited for you. As much as we missed you at Tendy Fest, we understood that you had bigger things like, Tendy Fest, Stanley Cup Parade. I get it.
I made sure I had a picture with Freddie Brathwaite and Mike Rosati, because we've done it a few times when we've been on the ice together where I've snapped a picture, and guys will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "These are my buddies. I want to save this." And then during the moment, we got a picture on the ice, and that was cool. But here's a story about Sean. And Sean has been GM of Olympic teams and world championship teams. There's a love of the game that goes beyond just our position, even though he's so great at it. But he wants to take his expertise as far as it can go. But Sean told his wife when they took the job in Vegas last summer, "We're going to go to Vegas and we're going to win the Stanley Cup." That was last summer.
That's
and
awesome.
He told me that story. And we've talked hundreds of times over the course of the winter and shooting the breeze. He's never told me that, probably out of superstition like we all are.
Right.
But he told me that on the ice during the celebration. I'm like, that is like goosebumpy. Like, I told her we're going to go to Vegas and we're going to win the Stanley Cup. And his young son, Hudson, is a goalie now. Took up the position this past winter. And Hudson's 9 or 10, I think. And they use the little nets in his league. And there's a great picture in the middle of the final of Hudson on the ice. And we were in Florida for games 3 and 4. And Hudson's leaning on the back of the crossbar like Aiden Hill. And that didn't come from Sean. That didn't come from anybody else. It came from Hudson, whose dad played in the league forever and is now a goalie coach for Aiden Hill. But a young kid just looking up to a hero and how much influence there is in that. So that's a long roundabout story, but it was epic to be able to do that. And my wife worked in hockey for 15 years with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. To see her so engaged and happy about this moment, it was really, really special.
Hey, and a quick plug for Sean Burke and a reminder, folks, is we had his other son, Brandon, on the podcast just, I think, less than a month ago. I can't keep track of the episodes in my head. There's a lot of stuff running around up there, especially after Tandy Fest. But camp's coming up this summer. Don't know if there's any space left, but one in Vegas the first week in August. They got one in Scottsdale, Arizona, mid-July. So make sure you check out Valley Goaltending for more information there. Make sure you check out the podcast with Brandon, because a lot of the philosophies that he brings to the goaltending position, and they were so impressive to hear him sort of explain them. I loved his mindset on everything. A lot of them are sort of rooted in how Sean played and the things Sean learned over the years. Ben Waller in particular, obviously that time in Arizona, and you can see a lot of those elements in Aiden Hill's game, and you can see why it worked so well. And so it was just, I don't know, it was just to have had those conversations in the past, whether it was with Sean or with Brandon recently or with Sean in the past, dating back to his time in Arizona, and see it all come full circle and applied at that level in that stage and with all the different people involved from a distance. It was cool. I sent him a text after. In the media, we don't cheer for teams. You're part of it, Daren, but on my side, we don't cheer for teams. We cheer for great stories and great people. And there were so many of both, whether it's Aiden Hill or Sean or his family or Fred or any of the other goalies involved. We know LB, what he came overcame to get back on the ice after the hip surgeries. Like, there were so many great stories and great people involved in this Stanley Cup, and I put you at the top of that list too. So getting to see you celebrate again, buddy, we live vicariously through you, and I can't wait to see more pictures moving forward too as the summer progresses. I need to see some parade photos.
I got a lot better at spraying the champagne and the beer.
Good to hear.
The parade than I was in the dressing room. So nobody was injured during any of these, but and my daughter and I got to share her first sip of beer, even though she's only 16. I said, "Have a sip. It's a special occasion. I'll never let you do this again."
And usually when you do that, because I may have done that for my daughter as well, you guys drink this stuff? It's terrible.
Yeah. What is going on here? This is awful. Give me a Sprite. Let's go. There's a couple of things. What the save that Aiden Hill made in game 2 with the paddle on Nick Cousins, people will remember forever. The glove save he made in game 5, they snapped it out of the air coming across. I believe it was game 5. That is for a goaltending podcast. That was a save, like where you're in the right spot and you react to it and you make this. The other one's desperation and it's brilliant and it's awesome. But that glove save just was. We all want to do that with a little bit of windmill.
And I'm going to and absolutely, that's like, goalie porn. So, yeah. And I got a little bit like self-promotion here for InGoalMag.com. The eye doctor or the eye specialist that Aiden trains with in Calgary is Dr. Chris Wu. And there's a great article and drill that was online as part of InGoal Premium a little while back. We'll have to throw it up on social media again, that Dr. Wu wrote for us and for goaltenders, for all of them to understand how the eye works and how to train it better. And that's the guy that Aiden works with. So there's our one slight degree outside of yourself, degree of separation attachment at InGoalMag.com and InGoal Premium to Aiden Hill, an article that everyone can read and a drill everyone can do to try and develop the visual acuity that was on display in both of those save sequences. Because as much as we talk about desperation on that paddle dive, visual attachment plays a role in it as well.
Mm-hmm. I've been around the cup probably 7-8 times since that night on 7 or 8 different occasions. It does not get old. You look over and it's sitting there and like, I'm just going to take the chance to go over and read some of the names. And the players are the same way. It's been epic. We have Tendy Fest in a rearview mirror, but the gear segment every week on InGoal Radio, the podcast, where we get to hang out with Cam, and we're talking about the true 9x3 line.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you, the first take of this, which was quickly deleted for a second take, I made the mistake like off the hop of reading it and being like, true, 9x3, their second price point. It's not. And I think there can be some confusion there, because as they sort of start to roll out multiple lines and multiple tiers, and you will see a second price point from True this summer coming. I think there's a lot of people excited about that. You chance to get in at more of an entry-level price point. But 9x3 is actually their top-of-the-line pro-level pad. It's just the version that's made overseas as opposed to their PX3 line that you see in the NHL, which is made in the factory in Montreal. So, we talked about this dating back to True and Lefebvre coming together. The reality of manufacturing capacity in North America was it was always going to be hard to meet the demand that they have at Pro with so many guys wearing it, NCAA where so many guys are wearing it, and overseas. And that the only way you were ever going to be able to satisfy all the fans that wanted it at a retail level, whether it's young goaltenders or old goaltenders like me, was to go back to manufacturing and having those options overseas. So as those wait times started to pile up for North American stuff, into the 20 plus weeks, if you wanted to order custom from the Lefebvre factory, 9x3 comes along and gives you an option to have something in store, something you can get your hands on immediately and not have to wait. As for the rest of the details, I'll leave it to Cam to explain. Welcome back to the Hockey Shop, source for sports. We're in the Goalie Utopia section here amidst 34,000 square feet of hockey amazingness. Cam's got his own section here, which is just like awesome.
Full of goalie.
Also amazing. Best place to go if you need goalie equipment, including we've got new stuff arriving, it seems like almost daily. We did the Catalyst PX3 how many months ago? Like, this is a while ago. Counting's hard. No need to put numbers behind it.
Okay.
That's fine.
I was told there would be no math. Now we have the true Catalyst 9X3.
That's correct.
So some people, maybe including myself when we started this video, thought it was a second price point pad because I wasn't paying attention. This is actually a pro level pad.
Correct.
Just made overseas. So
That's
same
correct.
feature as PX3.
Correct.
Just no longer made in Canada.
Correct.
Okay. So walk me through those features. So essentially what you're saying is we could go back to the PX3 review and say, it this.
Yeah, you really can. Hey, there we go. Roll the credits. 604-589-8299, 1-800-567-7790.
Because it is the same pad, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just, honestly, I was confused. And honestly, when I saw the promos for it, my brain thought second price point pad, and that's my fault. Again, this is all new for True.
Correct.
I mean, new except we've seen this before, but this is all new for True.
Correct.
So walk me through, let's review it. Let's go back. Let's go over the features of this 9X3 pad. Pro level pad.
Correct.
But not, if you're ordering custom, that would be a PX3.
That would be a PX3. And the reason why this stuff exists and why it's about right now is, as kind of expected, that custom wait time has creeped up again. We are rolling into the season where we need that new gear.
And it's not a criticism, it's the realities of having a product that is in demand to that degree.
Correct.
At the pro and American Hockey League and pro, like all the different levels. So there's limited capacity. So they needed the ability to build something to service the rest of us.
Exactly.
There we go.
So what we are finding is a pad that's now featuring the exact same materials, exact same foams, exact same construction. It's just we are assembled offshore. So
Highlights.
Well, we can already talk about it because you were playing with it. It does feature their version of, for lack of a better term, speed skin.
A similar feel. It sort of got like that little bit of a textured feel.
Correct. So we see that all in their slide surface. So that will be on all the white base pads with the exception of the all black pad because they don't have this material in black.
So the black would just be a regular Gen Pro.
Black will be regular Gen Pro.
Okay, colors, options that come in this. Like again, with PX3, when we had that, remember we showed off all the different colors you guys had ordered that you had on the wall, and obviously you can custom order.
Correct.
What are the color schemes on this one?
White black, white red, white blue, all black, all white.
Okay, so again, just a little simpler in terms of your options.
Correct. Your generic options to line up kind of as a basic idea, and it gets us through, again, say you do have a custom order on the way, you're running out of time, you need gear, or you just can't wait. This is giving you options off the wall. So, features. All of the same things that we would find on what would have been a stock PX3.
Right.
So, same style of knee cradle with that removable outer knee flap. Sure grip on that knee.
Removable outer knee flap. Oh, it's stitched in, but you just have to unstitch it to remove it.
Yeah, it's just laced in. That's
laced in.
Yes, very easy to come out. Their stock sizing will all be a +2, so 32 +2 all the way up to 36 +2. Elastic knee strap, but you still get that nylon down on the bottom.
Really like this. I think this is a really good idea. I love nylon. We've talked about having a fixed sort of end point, whereas elastic can keep going. You can slide off the knee stack, even when you double it up, as most companies do, including True, in terms of a double thick elastic. I do love the idea of a thinner, and because it's thinner, it's less likely to gather behind your knee. I love the idea of the fixed end point. And again, much like the elastic one, you can either go to the knee or down to the calf.
To double up, remove it, change it, do whatever you want. You still have that adjustability here. So
the length of it is adjustable by just opening up the inside of the knee stack.
Exactly how he's doing right there, folks. So
love it.
The goal here is to cover as many bases of the generic specs as possible. So the ability for you at home to dial in, exactly how you want to wear that pad. So options are great. So moving.
Fast rotation system on the inside, which has been very popular. Obviously developed by the Lefebvres. Debuted on their Lefebvre branded pad, I believe, and has been carried over to the True line as sort of a True exclusive.
Correct. So you get that great connection point actually inside. Shin nice and tight up against the pad if you would like. You can loosen off a little bit if you want it to be a little bit more rotation. Great overall feel. Again, that adjustability level is there. So again, that's something that we see carry over. Featuring now the bottom of the pad, the actual boot of the pad itself. Still that flat tabletop boot design comboed with that Pro laces, that hybrid system. So still very flexible in the boot area. Stiff
up in that upper thigh. Again, like we had talked about in that PX3 review.
Okay, so stiff upper thigh, that is the one thing. You see how it's got the thinner upper thigh? We saw that in the PX3, how they thinned out the top of it. Some guys in the NHL have gone to that as well. Not all, but a number of guys have added that to their pad. It does stiffen that thigh rise significantly.
Correct.
And is worth noting if you're someone coming from a 12.2 pad and you're expecting to have a little more, right, a little more sort of flex up there. This is much stiffer, which has been the pro preference for years in terms of thigh rise.
Correct. And I mean, the big aid there is that when you are down in that butterfly, we are trying to alleviate that kind of trapdoor action that could potentially happen.
It's not going to get floppy.
Exactly.
A little bit of stability there as well. One question with the flat boot cam. I know we're going to get this one. Obviously, the best way to get fit is to come in store. Cam sets you up. We've done the sort of dress up thing before with Cam where he walks you through sort of the ideal way to properly fit a pad. But if I'm just ordering it online from you here at thehockeyshop.com, I've got questions about the fit. Not having a sort of a boot channel, does it affect the fit? Does this sit up on the skate a little taller? And to what degree maybe compared to, say, a CCM pad? Where's the fit on, let's say, a 34-inch here? Is it going to fit the same, taller?
So we did cover this back when we did the PX3.
But you've had more experience with it since, so tell me.
So we do find that because of the way the fast rotation strap grabs onto that calf, that it does want to lift the pad up. So this doesn't sit 100% flush on the top of like your skate. It does want to hover just a little bit too as well.
So if it's a
just
little
based
taller.
on the height. Yes. So although 1-to-1 side by side, like say for example, this does kind of line up with a 34-inch knee on a CCM, I do find that this pad does kick itself up just a little bit higher.
Well, even just courtesy of having that tabletop boot, like that's automatically going to raise it up rather than having a channel
No
built
boot strap
in.
there as well. Nothing to really kind of secure that boot down. So it is going to want to, we'll call it levitate off the skate a little bit.
Okay, and so you mentioned no bootstrap. I see no options to add one either.
No bootstrap, period.
Okay, really quick, because we know we've done it. We've gone over the gloves. We've gone over the blockers. You know the different lines. Stock glove, stock blocker with the 9X3 line. I see $595 in the blocker, and that means bindingless.
Bindingless construction. So $585 binding, $595 no binding, $585 only available at custom anyway.
It's going to feel real familiar to anyone who was in the Lefebvre line.
Correct.
Even dating back to the CCM days. Like there's not a ton that has changed. Obviously, when you have a blocker as popular as that, you probably don't need to.
Yeah, the classic ain't broke, don't fix it. So, quick note, glove. We are looking at the 590 overall break, game ready, stock double T with skate lace. Great overall feel, kind of off the shelf. This is giving you that option. To me, this glove feels definitely like adequately padded right out of the box.
What is stock? Is it? I mean, do they do pro game ready in practice? Or the different?
That is the different, but like you're only going to find a game ready in.
That's what I meant. Is it game ready the one that comes in the 9X3?
Correct. So stock a little bit tight on the hand. I find that you do need to adjust the back end of the glove a little bit to really dial it in. But that all said, in terms of for overall feel wise, again, a great option for stock off the wall, especially for if you're looking for a 590 break. So.
590 break? Did you 590 break?
590 break?
Did you play a role in the 590 break?
We might have had some influence over.
Was it originally supposed to be a 600 with this line?
It was.
Oh, come on. You're taking all the credit before, and now you're being all shy.
Humble ability. You should try it sometimes. It just brings you back down into earth.
First of all, there's no such thing as humble ability.
I
That's
made
not
that
an
up. It
actual
sounds pretty
word.
good.
Second of all,
we're getting off topic.
Why would I be humble?
Why would I be humble? Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Woodley.
I'm kidding, folks. I kid.
604-589-8299 or 1-800-567-7790. If you do have any questions about this line, potentially about getting fitted or what you need specifically, you can give myself or my team a call. You can also check them out at thehockeyshop.com. This is something that you will see at Pennyfest here too as well. So I believe this might be one of our last videos before the actual event itself.
Well, let's hope. I guess it's now going to be one of our last videos before. It was supposed to run after Tennyfest. Good job, Cam.
Future.
Great distinction, though, between the not being the second price point, but still not being the North American manufacturer. And it wouldn't mean a load of beans to a lot of people. but just there is a difference there.
The distinction is you can get it, right? And then and within that, there's less custom options, but it's basically like in terms of how it performs and how it's like it should all be the same, right? And so essentially, there were some aspects where we said we could just go look at the other review, but just sort of letting people know that what this is and what it's how it's designed to perform and how it's designed to play. I mean, that same stiffness profile, you heard Cam talk about it, distinctly stiffer pad than previous models, much like the PX3, same type of stiffness profile through the thigh rise. So a lot of the same pad, just, a few different options in terms of how quickly you can get into, maybe a few less options in terms of some of the bells and whistles you can have added onto it in the custom process.
Something that you were able to source through at Tandy Fest with all the gear options and being able to try out a lot of the different manufacturers. And you talk about accelerating the Tandy Fest experience. Like would a guy like Pete Fry doing his seminar next year, that something along that line would be great.
Didn't have to do his seminar at Tandy Fest because he just brought all that energy anyways. Pete was there with us. Shared a booth with us and just absolutely engaged with everyone and was engaging with everyone. And so people flocked to see Pete and his personality and everything, the energy that he brings, the motivation that he brings to goaltenders of all ages through his program was very evident just hanging out at our booth with us at Tandy Fest. And of course, for those, it's not too late. There are still a couple of spots available for the in-person if you want to spend another day with us and Pete Fry and participate in his seminar, including on-ice components in Vancouver on June 24th. That's this upcoming Saturday, so really quick. But if you can't make it, if you're not in the area or you can't get there in person, there is a virtual component. All that information is at our website at ingoalmag.com. If you want to register, you can follow along, pretty much everything except we will take you on the ice with us. You just won't be on the ice yourself. That's about the only thing you'll miss if you sign up to do it virtually. So virtual spaces are kind of, frankly, unlimited. So if you're interested in it, make sure you check out the website and you can sign up. And if you happen to be in Vancouver for the weekend and you want to become a better goaltender, you want to understand why maybe there's fluctuation in your performance related to mindset, why your mind wanders, why your focus wanders, why you're maybe unable to bring it back when a goal or two go in. Pete has all kinds of tools and tips that'll allow you to sort of overcome some of those challenges that we all face in the position. I got to tell you, whether it's pros, and there will be some pros with us there, including one who played in the National Hockey League this season. Dylan Ferguson will be there with us at the seminar in Vancouver. So whether it's pros or whether it's beer leaguers like me, and there'll be other pros there as well who swear by Pete and the way he's helped them with their game, or a beer leaguer like me, there is going to be a takeaway that helps you get better on the ice because it helps you approach your game with a better mindset.
He intimidates me when I talk to him because I always feel like he's reading my mind and what's going on. He's inside my head, and I start talking like I'd never speak to anybody. But then when I get to listen to him, it's just a sponge and soaking it up. It's just that gives you an idea of how mentally challenged I am when it comes to focusing on the right thing.
I'm the same way, but he intimidates me only because of some of the wacky stuff he does, like eating the raw liver or firewalking or all these different motivation things. Like, I'm a little too soft for that. He keeps telling me the cold shower thing. I'm like, Pete, I have a hot tub,
yes,
not cold tub. I'm way too soft for all these things that you guys do. But if you're a little more hardcore, although I will say we went for dinner with Pete after Tandy Fest, and for a guy who, is willing to stick fire in his mouth and extinguish it with his mouth, walk on hot coals, or barefoot hike, I was surprised to hear him ask for the jalapenos on the side of the nachos we ordered because they were a little too spicy for him. So a little softness on Pete's part there, but everything else is, the mental strength and the sort of ability to sort of will yourself through things that, frankly, to me don't come naturally are all part of the package.
See, I would yell at him, go, I gotcha. That's good. You can't do everything. I love that jalapenos on the side. I don't want jalapenos in the room, never mind on the side. Milk is too spicy for me. So I love that idea that he wants it on the side. So cool stuff coming up with Pete Fry. What a wonderful resource.
Yeah, and hey, listen, speaking of resources, before we get to Joel Hofer, we should probably tell you about Sense Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like it.
I'm re-engaging with Sense Arena myself because it's my off season.
So am I.
So I'm not able to. I need to get back in. I understand. I recognize I'm not playing as much. Probably they're taking the ice out here locally, so there won't be as many summer skates, and probably for the best after absolutely getting torched by a couple of guys that play in the American Hockey League last week, like just lit up, ego bruised, pride shattered. I need to get back on Sense Arena and get back to tracking pucks, including up till the NHL level, which is what you can do with this virtual reality tool. You've heard a lot about Sense Arena from us over the years. Make sure you check it out. InGoal Mag, IGM50 is the discount code if you decide to purchase it and you want to save a few extra bucks. But honestly, like if you have a headset now, you can test it for free, right? Like they have a free trial. They have different tiering options. You don't have to go all in with Sense Arena. You can work your way. My bet is once you try it, you're going to want to buy it. And once you try even at the base level, you're going to want to be able to advance up to some of the features of the pro level. But the ability to try it now without having to go all in is, I think, a great thing because it allows more people to recognize just how great a tool this is. We saw a lot of it at Tendy Fest, people asking us questions about Sense Arena. And I think, it surprised them a little bit to hear just how realistic the Sense Arena experience is. To hear guys like Devin Levi, who played with our featured guest, Joel Hofer, at the World Championships year, to hear him talk about how he uses it, even on a game day preparation basis. It is such a good tool for goaltenders, especially in the offseason when you can't get on the ice. We had parents last summer tell us that they wanted to give their kids a break from goaltending. They felt like maybe 365 was too much. They wanted them to maybe do other sports in the summer, something we hear a lot about. Physical literacy and athlete development, especially at young ages. You don't have to be a goaltender full time. And they felt like having Sense Arena as even a once a week tool, although their kids wanted to be on it more than that, but even having it as a once a week training tool, when they got back onto the ice for tryouts in the fall, they noticed an improvement in the way their child was able to track pucks and how good their hands were from using Sense Arena all summer. And yet the wear and tear on the body was less because they weren't in camps all summer. And the love of the game came back quicker because they weren't sort of immersed in it constantly, doing camps every week all summer. It allowed them to take a step away from the game without losing their edge. And in fact, in many cases, the parents told us that their kids came back better because of all those reasons, and Sense Arena being the primary one.
I did the exercise where you don't try to stop the puck. You just watch the release. And
I did that exercise the other day in a real game too.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm going to tell you a story after Joel Hofer. Something I'm not very proud of, but it just got to me and I had to do it. But I will admit that it was wrong, but I'd probably do it again. Anyway, I did the exercise where you just watch the release and you don't try to. It was really a neat and something you could never do in a regular ice time.
There's so many things you can never do in a regular ice time. That's one of them. We've heard from Eric Comrie and Devin Levi. They like to sort of just watch pucks and like sort of track pucks and not worry about stopping them. And then also one that Eric talked about is like, because you can see the replay from a puck perspective, you can take those shots and then go back and see the replay. And he's like, in the right position, how close, without having to move, how close am I to those ones that went by my shoulder? Like it's a fraction of an inch, like just a little bit of a lift of the shoulder or a slight shift. Being able to sort of understand the box control drills, how much space you take up in the net when you're square and set on pucks, and not even worry about stopping them, how much it can help you in that regard. So many different drills. Picking a spot, like you go into drills in the summer and you want to work on your glove, but every second one the shooter misses, and either, well, in my case, they hit me in the head, or like you're trying to work on your glove and every third shot is low blocker. And hey, great for reactive drills, but I'm trying to work on something here. My shooters can't hit their spot. Well, you can do the same type of thing in Sense Arena where you tell them where to shoot and you can work on the mechanics of that particular save selection. And guess what? Their shooters don't miss.
Awesome. It's amazing, and I encourage everybody, if you haven't tried it, give it a shot and send us your reaction to how your experiences with Sensorina. I'd love to hear some of the feedback on your side of it. Joel Hofer coming up in the Sensorina feature interview. Set it up for us.
Well, Hutch wasn't with us this week. He's on special assignment up in the interior, but he did lead our feature interview with Joel Hofer. And I got to be honest with you, I think the introduction that he does is so perfect that we don't even need to hear from me, because he lays out everything. Third-year pro, the season he's having, got a world championship gold medal right now after winning that with Canada overseas. I think we just turn it over to Hutch and let him set this up.
Hutch.
Our guest first joined us on the InGoal radio podcast after leading Canada to a gold medal in the 2020 World Junior Championship as the tournament's top goaltender. Since then, he's made his NHL debut, and he played 6 games this year. He scored his first goal in the playoffs, no less, as we talked about on the show before. He's an AHL All-Star and now a senior world champion as part of Canada's team just over 2 weeks ago at the tournament held in Latvia and Finland. And if you're a big fan of puck-handling goalies, hang tight for more, because you might not believe what he did earlier this season. Joel, welcome back. Thanks for joining us as a third-time guest, and congratulations on another great season.
Yep, thanks, Hutch. It's good to be back.
What's the summer look like for you? I understand you haven't moved into your old room at home in Winnipeg.
No, yeah, I got into a new spot this year, so it's been pretty hectic. Moving into here and getting furniture all figured out. But yeah, it's been good so far. And then got back into the gym this week, so that's been good. And probably end up taking a month or so off the ice there. So kind of rest up the body off the ice, and then should be good to go in July.
I guess everything, even still, while you've established yourself as a pro, everything's sort of new. Just every year, something's just a little bit different that you have to learn as you're growing up as a goaltender and as a person.
Yeah, exactly. There's always going to be something new. Obviously the years before was, learning how to cook and stuff. And then, obviously, this year I kind of got a little bit of a handle on that now. So, but yeah, every year has been great. And, obviously, learning more each year. So it's good.
Okay. You opened up the can of worms. So what's your go-to recipe? What do you like to cook?
Chicken and pasta for sure. That's the guys always give me a hard time about it. I cook it a lot, but lots of carbs, and I find it pretty good. So
that's nice. Okay, so let's first go back to the World Championship this year. Was this your first experience on international ice?
So the World Juniors was in Czech that year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have known that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. But so this was my second time. But yeah, it was great. Like had a ton of fun. Obviously we won gold, so that was that was the reason why we went there, and we got the job done, and I met a lot of good guys along the way. So but yeah, it was amazing for sure.
Did you have to change anything about your game on the international ice?
You know what? I found that had more time than you thought. The one thing that the goalie coach, me and, Justin Pogge were talking about was like, when they're along the outside, you have, more time than you think. So like it was a little bit of a transition to kind of get used to, whether it was like transitioning to the post or whatnot. But, I thought, we worked on it and practiced it a lot, and thought it was good, towards the end of the tournament.
Probably good that he's got a lot of international experience then.
Yeah, exactly. He's been over there for a while, so he definitely knows what he's talking about for sure.
3 different goaltenders on the team all got playing time, a bit unusual in that respect. And I would say all 3 of you are quite different as goaltenders. So here's the question: having watched the other 2 guys, Samuel Montembeault and Devin Levi, in practice, what would you like to add from their games to yours? What could you pick up from the 2 of them?
Oh, that's a good question. I like the way that Monty always filled the net. Like it seemed like he's obviously a big guy, and it didn't seem like he did too much to get out of his way or make a crazy save. And then as far as Dev goes, obviously his skating is unbelievable, and just the way he gets around the net so efficiently, and for a smaller guy, he's obviously really good with his hands, and his head's really good in terms of like always leading first, and doing the little things. So yeah, it was obviously great to be there with those 2 guys, and even better people off the ice too.
Do you ever get time in practice where you guys talk with each other? Hey, how'd you do that? What do you like to do in this situation? Sort of.
Yeah, there was times where, me and Dev would go on and we talk about things, and it was mainly lots of post stuff and, whether we should overlap or, go back into reverse. But yeah, definitely some, good conversations there.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit more about that relationship with Justin Pogge, because it's a short tournament. You're just getting to know each other, presumably for the first time. How do you work together?
Yeah, it was great. It's obviously, my first time meeting him this for the tournament there. And yeah, he's a great guy. Obviously, like we talked about, he's been in, he's played a long time and, lots internationally. So yeah, he's obviously got a lot of knowledge for the game. And but yeah, he's a great guy. It was really nice meeting him, and I'm sure we'll touch paths over the way.
I mean, I think a lot of people would think that a goalie coach is in an international tournament really can't do very much, but you mentioned some specifics that he was working with you. Can you give us an example maybe of something that you did in practice that you were able to take into one of the games, something that he's doing that's maybe a little bit more detailed?
Yeah, I think like I said, the one thing was definitely the post play on how, how I would always like to go in the overlap or whatnot. And he was just, kind of saying how, how you're a big guy. You don't really need to be in there, in the overlap or whatnot. But, yeah, so he was kind of just saying, you're able to go in the reverse, you're good in the post and such. So, but yeah, it was definitely, nice to get a second, I guess a second wave or a second talking and, or opinion, I guess. But yeah, he's been amazing. And, yeah, it was great for sure.
How do you fit in your routines, the things that you like to do? I mean, us goalies are all a little bit quirky. People seem to think we certainly have routines that we like to follow. How do you fit those in when you're with a new team, whether it's a team like Canada in international play or when you're getting called up from the American League to the National Hockey League? How do you blend all your needs versus the team's needs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we, me and Dev and Monty would go on, as early as we could to, get that going and, get what we needed to, to be ready for practice or the games or whatnot. But, yeah, we had a plan, going into practice, kind of what we wanted to work on. And, Pogues did a good job at, asking us what we need and, what we'd like to work on. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, like obviously the practice, goes first, and we're kind of, we're kind of the second wave. Obviously the players are the first kind of priority, and then we're kind of there to do our jobs. But yeah, we did a good job at, finding time to, do whatever we need to do to be ready.
Yeah. What about game day? Like, I mean, presumably when you're the starter on a team, whether it's in the American League or previously in the Western Hockey League, you would have some sort of say into what the warm-up looks like for you personally. I'm talking about on the ice here now. What happens when you go in with a new team? Like you're going up to St. Louis. They've got things they do on the ice every warm-up, and far be it from you to tell them how to run a warm-up. How do you work those things?
I try not to, focus on it too much. I mean, shots are shots. I'm not too superstitious in what kind of shots, or if I need these kind of shots. It's kind of, it is what it is. Whatever shots I get is good shots, I guess. But yeah, I'm definitely not gonna, go up to Luch or any of the big guys and say, "Yo, we need to change this warm up or whatever." But yeah, it was good. It was, the warm ups were, it is what it is, and yeah, they were good. No issues there.
Sounds like you're a pretty laid back guy who can fit into anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably good advice for young goaltenders. Okay, so you opened up the cooking to us here, and I did want to ask, what is it like moving up to the National Hockey League? Can you give us any sort of background details? Like, where do you live? I'm assuming in a hotel. How do you deal with food on a game day when can you get your chicken and pasta that you like to cook before a game in the American Hockey League? How do all those things work?
Yeah, we were obviously in the hotel there, and in the NHL, we were blessed enough to have meals at the rink a lot of the time. So we'd obviously go there early, get our breakfast in, and then for lunch was there after practice or whatever. And then on game days, it would have a station for chicken, salmon, rice, pasta, all that. So you'd obviously just take a to-go box and bring it back to your place there. But yeah, it's obviously great. Like there's a lot of food there, and you're really hungry. You obviously just gotta, kind of fend for yourself for dinner. But yeah, when I was there, we were mainly on the road, so it was pretty easy. We'd go out for a lot of dinners and stuff. So
Just another road trip.
Yeah, exactly. It was great though. It's nice to go on dinners with the guys.
Nice road trip, but you're not taking a bus.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of flying, that's for sure. There's no more buses.
Is it a little bit like bus culture though? When you walk onto the plane, do you have to find your spot as a rookie and just wonder where you're going to fit in?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of just ask around, like, where's an open seat, and yeah, there's usually an open seat. Those planes are pretty big, so but yeah, definitely not going on the card table, that's for sure.
Okay, you signed your first one-way contract this year. Re-signed as a 2-year deal. Congratulations. But you still have to earn your spot in the lineup this year, don't you? I think everybody's expecting you to be in St. Louis, but what's your mindset going into camp?
Yeah, like you said, I got to earn it. I'm looking to, go in there and, prove myself and, show that I am ready. And, but yeah, it should be a good year. I'm going to, treat this year like, like every other, just go in there and, try to do my best. And, obviously just try to stop as many pucks as I can. So, yeah, it's obviously, going to be pretty exciting, and definitely looking forward to it.
So you've got your own sort of summer routines for how you get ready for the season. Tell us a little bit about that, and tell us a little bit about the role that St. Louis plays in that, how much direction they give you over the summer.
Yeah, it's so I'm obviously I'm in the gym probably five days a week for most of the week. So yeah, that's obviously a big focus of mine, is getting bigger and stronger, and especially moving to the NHL hopefully is the guys are bigger, and the workload is bigger too. They obviously have 82 games, and bigger than what I'm used to. So yeah, obviously that's a huge thing for me. And for me, I'll in terms of on the ice, I'll probably take a month off or so. I usually do every year, just to kind of rest the hips. And that way for me too is like, as soon as the third week comes around, I kind of get more of an itch. And then yeah, and then once you're on the ice, it's obviously great to be back. And yeah, for me, it doesn't take, too long to, get back into the swing of things. So, yeah, I'll still have probably, 2 months or so to, get ready for the season. And, but yeah, it should be good.
And we've seen you most summers with Eli Wilson in Edmonton, but let's give a shout out to your goalie coach at home as well.
Yeah, Dan Ferguson. I've been working with him, since I was probably 11. So, yeah, we go way back, and, he does a great job at, getting me ready for the year. And yeah, definitely looking forward to, working with him again this year.
How much does St. Louis get involved in what you're doing over the summer? What direction do they give you as you set off for the summer?
Yeah, that's right. Obviously we keep in touch with, the off ice guy, Ryan Podell, and yeah, we get a pretty good plan going. And he's in cahoots with my trainer here, Matt Asmussen. He does a great job with me too. And yeah, everybody's, kind of in the loop, and, we'll touch base even with the goalie coach in St. Louis, Davey Alexander.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's in touch with, Fergie too. So everybody's kind of in the loop, and yeah, we're all on the same page. So it's pretty good.
And are you working sort of specifically in that role with David Alexander now, or Dan Stewart still involved? Because we're not quite sure where next year leads, or obviously you've still got a relationship with Dan.
Yeah, of course. We're kind of working with both, but, yeah, both guys have been amazing to me. It's, I'm definitely grateful to have, those guys as, kind of my mentors, and, yeah, but yeah, it's been great for sure.
So now, having had the 6 games in the show this year and a couple before that, what do you walk away from that experience thinking and feeling, and in terms of what you'd like to improve on as a goaltender?
Yeah, obviously it was a good little stint I had there. It was a ton of fun. Like I had a blast doing it. I mean, I got to play, some road games and some home games too. And it was amazing. Like, just like I said, I had a ton of fun, but, in terms of, what I can take away from it, I mean, obviously, the play is, pretty quick. So, you got to be good with your feet, and you got to be able to read plays pretty quick. And obviously the traffic, I've mentioned that before. The traffic's a big thing, and yeah, for me, that's definitely one of my bigger focuses. Is obviously being a bigger guy, how to handle that, and people are going to obviously try to take away your eyes. So how to cope with that, and But yeah, definitely looking forward to, the challenge next year.
Do you have any tips for young goalies about dealing with traffic? And out of that experience, what do you like to do? Do you sort of work top down as a taller guy? Any sort of rules that you follow in when things get tight?
Yeah, me and Stewie, we touched on it earlier in the year. I found that, being a bigger guy, I would just always try to look over.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be like whenever shots would come, I would just, I don't know, like my eyes weren't set, or I guess my head level was like too above, and it was harder to track pucks that way. So I would try, working lower, and try and see guys more low. And for, I found that it helped for me actually a lot. And then it's like, let's say it was like a shot where I tracked late or whatnot, I'm already in like a stance or a position to make a save. So I found it easier that way. But, obviously trying to find a good mix, between high and low, and not trying to, be static and do the same thing all over the time, trying to, just make reads and, do whatever I can to make the save, obviously.
So you've mentioned making reads a couple of times now. What can you do to help your ability to read the game?
Watch hockey. That's pretty much it. That's all I do. Nice. Really is, especially during the year, watch so many hockey games, and, obviously got some goalies that I like to watch, and, try to emulate or see what they do, or, even the smaller guys too, like see what they can do to, read pucks. And, another thing too was like, for during the year, me and Stewie would work a lot on like actually shifting into pucks and, sliding into it. Because, before I'd kind of just like do these, like I'd just drop into it rather than actually slide into it. So, yeah.
Can you unpack that one for me a little bit? Because I think a lot of coaches are teaching almost the opposite of that. So talk to me about why you want to slide more than just shift.
Well, it's mainly for like, so like if I'm reading a shot on the far side, I guess I'll be looking over here, and then I obviously know it's not coming on this side, and I have a decent amount of ways to go to the other side. Like if I were to just drop into it, then I would obviously be late, and I wouldn't take up as much space. But this year I tried to obviously not like slide crazy out of the net, but there's like an in between to where I can, slide a little bit, and then. I'm confident enough to where I'd be able to, if it were to go back, I'd be able to catch an edge and, find a way back to my net. But there's a time and place for everything. Like if I obviously track the shot clean, then I probably wouldn't do it as much. But if it's more of a screen, but I can just sense that, the puck's going that way, then I can, slide into it more.
Sounds very situation specific, understanding what's needed rather than having sort of a robotic like response to everything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely more, just based on reads, and, I try to stay away from being robotic and doing the same thing all the time. It's, I find it doesn't really work for me. So
does the team give you video to watch as you're talking about having to watch hockey to become a better goaltender? What's the team's role in that?
I don't know. Like I just enjoy doing it. So I haven't. You're
just watching hockey games.
I just like watching hockey games. So we got I don't even know what it is, NHL Network or whatever. So we get most of the games. So, but yeah, I just like doing that. And then obviously I'll, go over clips of my own games and such. But yeah.
You said you like watching some guys. So top of that list, Jordan Binnington. Let's just say that you love watching him. You got to say that.
Yeah, I obviously watch these games. So yeah.
Wait, quite seriously, what actually though in that experience? What did you pick up from Jordan?
Dude, he's sick. He's he's really good. I don't think he gets enough credit as he deserves. He's he battles in there. I mean, if you watch some of the Blues games this year, we'd be giving up a lot of grade A's, and he'd be sticking in there and battling, and giving every chance for the team to win. So that was something that I kind of learned this year. There was a game in LA where I obviously got pulled, and I didn't have a great start or whatever, but that's it was a good thing for me. Like I obviously learned a lot from it. And then me and Binner obviously talked after, and he was saying like the game ended up being, I don't even know what it was, like 6-5 or something. So, and it was like they scored late. Like we had actually a chance to win, but it just goes to show like how fast all like the momentum can switch, and like how, you know, you just gotta stay in it and just find a way to make the next save. So, you know, as much as, you know, I'd like to have a better outcome of the game, like it's, you know, it's a good thing for me to learn from that. And, you know, I'm obviously better for it.
Yeah, for sure. So you like watching Binner. Who else do you like to watch around the league?
Obviously, Vasilevsky, just, you know, how big he is. I think everybody would say that. You know, how big he is and how well he can move. And I know I like him. I obviously like Hellebuck, you know, being a Winnipeg guy. And so I watch a lot of him. I love watching Saros too. Just you know, how quick he
So
is.
technical.
And, yeah, he's great. Those are the main three guys or whatever. But like, I'm not too picky. Like, I'll just chuck on any team. And I like watching Ottinger too. I think he's pretty good, and I think he'll have a pretty good career. So those are just a few guys that, you know, come to the top of my head. But yeah, obviously, you know, I'm not too picky with who I watch.
Oh, that's a good cross section of guys that you can take things from. So what's a game day routine like for Joel Hofer now that he's a professional goaltender?
Yeah, obviously, you know, I'll go into the rink, do my skate, do my, you know, stretch, little lift. Nothing too serious. On the lift, it's just like a 2 set for 3, kind of just like a couple step ups, little RFE, kind of just shock the body, and yeah, I get it ready. But
is that something you like to do, or the team gives you something specific to do on game day in the room?
I like to do that. I think it just, you know, when I've done it, I found like my legs, you know, feel good during the game. So I kind of just, you know, stuck with it, and yeah, it's been working for me. So that's, yeah, I'll just keep doing that. So yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll go home, make a breakfast, couple eggs, some toast, some bacon, and then.
How do you do the eggs? Are you an over guy or sunny side? What are we doing?
Over easy, yeah, on the toast. So that's how I do that. I'll do that, and then usually golf's on at that time. So me and my roomie will chuck on some golf, and we'll couple air swings, do a couple putts on the putting mat, and then it's probably around like 1:30. Then we eat like our chicken and rice, and then yeah, try to shut her down at 2, and then wake up at 3:30, and then I do some like visual edge stuff to kind of just get the eyes going. You know, waking up after a nap, your eyes are pretty tired, so I'll do that. You know, have a shower, and then kind of get to the rink. So yeah, nothing too crazy.
How long before there's a golf simulator in that new home of yours?
Oh man, I don't know. I've been to the golf course pretty much every day since I've been home. So yeah, I gotta rest up though. I gotta take it easy on my back. But yeah, I love the game of golf. It's fun, and it's nice to get away from hockey and, you know, do something else.
Do you play golf the way you goaltend? And by that, I know you like to go for it and try and score a goal, as you did last year in the playoffs. Are you a long hitter who likes to go for it, or are you a little bit more tactical out there?
Well, I'll pick my spots. Like, obviously, I don't go for every par 5 and 2, but yeah,
par 4 and 1.
Yeah, I try to play more smart in golf, but it kind of depends how the round's going, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I would say my hockey game and golf game is, you know, pretty different.
Do you learn something from golf though as a goaltender? We talk about them being very similar quite often. You know, in the sense that you can't try harder as a goaltender really and be successful. Tension being the enemy of goaltending, and you have to relax out on the golf course too. What do you take away from the game, and how does it help you? Yeah,
for sure. You know, the mental part of it, you know, is definitely good for me. You know, obviously golf is, you know, probably one of the hardest sports, if not the hardest. You know, just in terms of like, you can never be perfect in it. Like, there's always ways to be better. So, you know, with that being said, it obviously gets, you know, super frustrating, and, you know, you can, you know, really flip a switch and get pretty angry out there. But, yeah, I think it's good just to, you know, doing that. And obviously, you know, you work on, you know, being calm and just breathing. And, yeah, it definitely helps the mind for sure.
Has that changed since you were a youngster playing golf? I mean, have you gotten better at it?
I think I've gotten better at it. Like I'd get pretty choked. But it's like at the end of the day, like it's not my job to play golf, right? Like I'm just out there to have fun. And if you're playing for money, obviously you're gonna get a little upset. But yeah, obviously this year me and my partner have done pretty well. So we haven't lost yet this year. So yeah, we've had a good start this year, but I'm sure there's tough times ahead.
Right on. Well, I hope we can maybe see that golf game again this summer at some point. Let's. Yeah. I sort of teased it in the beginning. We got a text message from your goalie coach Dan Stewart during the game, as you did something this year, trying to score that I have a feeling probably has never been done before. So, can you walk us through what happened?
Yeah, we were playing Laval. And we were up like 5-2, or I think it was 5-2. I don't know how much time was left. Maybe like 4 minutes or whatever. And I guess they were trying to go for it. So yeah, they dumped it in. Obviously, I was gonna sent it and hit the left post, and then ended up being icing, whatever. And then they ended up dumping again a short time later, and then it hit like the side of the net. And then, I mean, they still had their net pulled or whatever, so it was still icing. And then they tried it again, and then I hit the other post, but it like laid in the crease, so I got my assist. So I was happy with the assist. But
I didn't know about the side of the net one. As you were telling that, I thought, oh, I've been led astray here. There weren't 2 posts, but there were 2 posts and the side of the net.
So I went for it 3 times, which is, I don't know how my coach feels about that, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it's fun going for it, and I just love the way that the crowd gets up for it. And obviously it would have been nice to score one, but
you got 2 posts. You got to be thinking it's time to hit the crossbar on the next one.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take the assist though.
Well, that's awesome. Great fun for everybody, and glad you love to have fun out there. And thanks for sharing all of that with us, Joel, because I think your enthusiasm for the game, your willingness to share it with young goaltenders through this show and in so many other ways means a lot to everybody in the goalie union, and I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. It's it's been a lot of fun so far, and hopefully there'll be a lot more fun in store. So
I'm sure there will be. Good luck this season.
Yep, thank you.
Some hidden gems there.
Yeah,
not so hidden actually, but there's some real gems there.
Yeah, there were some great takeaways in that interview, and Joel's become a regular with us. That was his 3rd time, as Hutch mentioned, his 3rd time on the program, and it's fun to re-engage with these guys on year after year basis, because sometimes we sort of, we had this guy on, and so you're hesitant to hit him up for his time again because he had a long season, and sometimes you think, people don't want to hear from the same guy again. We do the big origin story where you get the full hour with the guy and you know everything and how he fell in love with the game. But I love it when we catch up with guys, especially young guys like Joel that are coming up. They're now into his pro career, because there are still lessons being learned every year. And, I think that there's great takeaways that are new every year. And one of them to me, and I'm, again, going to selfishly tie this back to InGoalMag.com, but listening to him talk about the importance of watching hockey and watching other goaltenders. And I think amidst a lot of the conversations about, quote unquote goalie school goalies, and goalies maybe getting a little too technical and losing some of the instinct, some of the read components of the game that they need to separate themselves at higher levels as they get older and the shooters get better. One of the things I hear about from a lot of goalie coaches right up to the National Hockey League level is a lot of kids don't watch enough hockey. And so, Mitch Korn talks about goaltending not being a game of shots, but a game of patterns, and how watching those patterns unfold, even if you're watching it, not from the crease, but on TV and another goalie, is such an important part of learning to connect those patterns yourself. And I think, hey, listen, as much as I would like to tell every kid to go watch a ton of hockey, it also happens to be June 19th. Daren's already lifted the Stanley Cup. There's no hockey to watch now until September or October. So rather than watching hours and hours, why not just watch short 5-minute videos of NHL goalies watching themselves and explaining to you why they're making the reads they are, what they're seeing, why they're reacting in a certain way, whether it's their depth, their post-play integration decisions, their save selections. And, for all the goalie coaches that tell us kids don't watch enough hockey, a lot of them also tell us that a great solution is our pro reads at InGoalMag.com. The chance to sit down and break down video with NHL goalies. There's over 170 of them up. New ones coming out every week. Some of the names featured over the past couple of months include your likely Vezina Trophy winner in Linus Ullmark, Thatcher Demko with the Vancouver Canucks, Yaroslav Halak, who's approaching 300 wins in the NHL. We've got more coming up with guys, including Joel Hofer is going to sit down with Hutch and break down some videos. Some of those insights he talked about in terms of how he's managing screens in that interview just now, we'll have video to go with it, and he can explain the way he's choosing different sight lines. There is so many great takeaways, not just from that interview, but from all our pro reads that sort of feed into that mindset of watch more hockey. If you're a young goalie and you don't want to spend hours, you can just do it a couple minutes at a time through InGoalMag.com. It was one of the big talking points at TendyFest with the parents that were coming by is, for all the things we offer, tips, drills, even gear segments, the one that's actually going to help your young goalie become better, more perhaps than anything else, is Pro Reads. And there's a new one up every week. And if you're a new subscriber and you subscribe for a year, you can access our full archives, which means you've got almost 3 years worth of those weekly Pro Reads sitting there. Names like Carey Price, Braden Holtby, Frederick Anderson, like some of the best goalies in the game, sitting down, watching video with us and dissecting their decision-making process so that when it comes time for your young goalie or you, even at the beer league level, to make reads, maybe it's not OV on a one-timer you got to get across on, but a lot of the principles are the same, and it will help you become a better goaltender at every level.
And if you're a goalie coach or maybe just an assistant coach in your team without a full-time goalie coach, watch these pro reads or sit down with your goaltender and watch these pro reads and be able to work along. Or if you're just a men's league goaltender, rec league goaltender, playing in your women's league, watch these pro reads and make yourself better. And if you're a fan of the game, it's not even any type of real push to get involved with that because it's so much fun.
Yeah, and it's funny because one of the things that's sort of come up as we're sort of working on subscriptions and checking our existing subscribers and, how do we grow InGoal? Because that's always a bit of a challenge. As much as we think every goalie should subscribe, they don't yet. So what are you waiting for? Man, the number of other pro goalie coaches and professional goalies that subscribe to it, the feedback we get from pros in Europe that use the resources of InGoalMag.com to try and get better. If it works for that, if the guys playing pro see the value in this, then I think every young goalie can see the value in it too. If you're serious about the position, you're serious about getting better at it, it's about the price of a sharpening card, $50 Canadian a year, which is what, like 2 cups of coffee, $35 in the States with the exchange. It's an absolute no-brainer. So many goalie coaches tell us that, and so I'm being a bit of a shill today. But to sort of have that reinforced by the people that were subscribers at TendyFest, and then to see the eyes light up when people that listen to the podcast but didn't fully understand InGoal Premium and what it offers, and then are subscribing now for the first time after those conversations, I'm gonna shill it. I'm gonna plug it because I think it brings a lot of value to the goalie world.
And so does Pete Fry. Here's my Pete Fry moment that proves that I need him. Well, there's been a lot of them over the years, both professionally, personally, and in hockey, why I need Pete Fry. But a couple of weeks ago, we were playing in our men's league in the middle of the playoffs, where it was an off night on a Thursday night league, and I get hit in the head, new mask, hit in the head 4 times. And I'm like a little frustrated with that. And then we start losing control of the game, a little frustrated with that. And a guy comes down and he does a dipsy doodle and like 16 moves, and he's through the legs and all this kind of stuff. He doesn't score, mainly because like I was 6 moves behind and accidentally got in the way of it. But ticked me off. And the next time he comes down the left side and he cuts toward the middle, and I just did a diving poke check and got him. And I'm not proud of it. I got a penalty for it. He was okay, so it's all fine. I'm not proud of it, and that's why I need Pete Fry. But boy, did it feel good in the moment. And I wouldn't have done it had he not come down and done the 15 dipsy doodles through the legs and all that kind of stuff. And I'm I know what you're trying to do, buddy, but man, oh man, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, no, been there, done that. Had one of I needed Pete Fry when I was getting lit up at that skate that I talked about earlier in the show. Just lost all my focus, got frustrated, got mad, but it usually means we're not. And yeah, throwing out the odd, I will say those skates, I don't like to do that because the guy coming down might have a professional career that he's got to worry about. And heaven forbid he slips on the poke check and goes full speed into the boards. It actually happened to a guy here in White Rock who thought I was in net. Colton Gillies thought I was the goalie that it did it to him because the guy wore similar equipment, and we had to sort of have a, hey man, it wasn't me. I wouldn't do that moment because he did get hurt on the eve of a KHL training camp. So there is a little hesitation to be too aggressive with the poke checks. But man, as soon as we're thinking about those things, Darren, you know what we're not doing? We're not thinking about stopping the puck.
Exactly.
And there are some great ways to maintain your focus, not get as snaptastic as I was at my last skate, and actually stop more pucks rather than just being an absolute snap show like I was and like Daren says he maybe was recently.
Yeah. And the same guy scored in the power play, so he got revenge.
Pete Fry will help us get better between the years, Darren. He can help you get better between the years. June 24th, if you're in Vancouver, there's still spots for the in-person. Very few, but there's still a few on June 24th. And if not, make sure you join us virtually. It costs less, and if you're an InGoal member, there's an even bigger discount for you. So make sure you check it out at ingoalmag.com and join us for a mindset seminar. Don't be a snap show like me and Darren.
It's the circle of goaltending. All goes around, and it all revolves around InGoal Radio, the podcast, InGoal Mag. Hey, great catching up with you. Thanks for being patient with me the last 2 months. You guys are awesome, and I can't wait to share even more about this journey and hear more about TendyFest.
I look forward to it, and congratulations again, Darren. Believe me, we knew you know, normally we're pretty hard-assed here, you know, ruthless in terms of demands on your time, but we figured you had bigger things going on.
I'll send you the picture. Trust me on that. It's InGoal Radio, the podcast. Thanks to Joel Hofer. Thanks to Cam over at The Hockey Shop, thehockeyshop.com, source for sports, Langley. And thank you to you for listening to InGoal Radio, the podcast.